This 1 Degree Outside video is brought to you by the Topsfield Fair.
At the Topsfield Fair, fun is around every corner. Experience the thrills, flavors, and entertainment you won't forget. From award-winning bites to exciting live shows, prize-winning fun awaits you at the Topsfield Fair, October 3rd to the 13th.
It's a Sunday. This is Sunday Insights. Normally we do an evening essentials here at the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Want to bring this to you a little bit early. There's a lot going on down in the tropics. Folks are asking about, curious about. Let's get you reset for the upcoming week. We're going to let this breathe a little. We're going to go deep into some of the meteorology, really kind of make it a weather deep dive here. It's the weekend. Why not, right? First, want to say thank you to all of our Patreon members. So many of you have become members of 1 Degree Outside. Why do we do this? Well, we thank every one of you that's on here because you are huge contributors. You see, we have no corporate ownership, no investors or anything like that. This is just something we do, and we offer so much of what we do for free. And many of you realize that and say, let me give back. Membership.onedegreeoutside.com. We appreciate everyone who did. Never an expectation, but always an appreciation. One of the free offerings we have now is 1degreeoutside.live. This is our 24/7 streaming network, New England's first weather network. Now, look, it's early in the game here for 1 Degree Outside, right? We're an 18-month-old startup, so a lot of this is our videos that come at you again and again. But during severe weather, big weather, we go live streaming. And, of course, we're going to be adding more and more content over time, right? All right, let's start out with what's going on in the tropics with Humberto. Humberto is still a major hurricane predicted to come west and then northwest of Bermuda and gradually over the course of the next 5 days be weakening as it hooks out to sea. So this will give some impacts to Bermuda. For us, it will throw waves in our direction that will build most as we get toward midweek. So you notice the waves aren't that bad on Monday, 1 to 2, 1 to 3 foot seas near shore. But here they are building as we get into Tuesday, 6 and 7 feet when you get down by George's Bank, starting to come into the coastline, and an increasing rip current begins at the coast during the course of Tuesday. Wednesday, you get your worst rip current, you get your worst waves coming in as well. It's long period swell that's thrown off the storm, but with an onshore wind, and we'll look at that in just a moment, that will add a little bit of wind kind of wave generation to that as well. And by Thursday, you've still got some pretty built up waves and still got a good rip current. We'll talk about coastal flooding potential in a moment as well. Then you've got Tropical Depression 9 ready to become Imelda and forecast move north. This one had some uncertainty with it, and it's a really good reason why here at 1 Degree Outside, we always tell you, look, even the 5-day forecast, you get a lot of uncertainty. National Hurricane Center has a cone of probability for a reason, right? And this thing never really has deviated from that cone of probability. It's just about what happens beyond the next few days. It certainly looks now like it comes closer to the coastline and then kind of hooks off to the east. So not going to be a southern, United States landfall the way it looks at this point. So storm surge can be there to some extent along the eastern coast of Florida. That prediction may expand northward up through the Carolinas as we get closer in. Wind strength does not look to be significantly damaging. There may be isolated wind damage all the way up through the Carolinas along the coastline. And then really it's going to be the rainfall, right? Freshwater flooding is going to be isolated to moderate the way it looks right now. And that would spread through a lot of the Carolinas, maybe even the mountainous terrain of North Carolina as the rain expands north and west over the next couple of days. Total rainfall amounts on average, probably 2 to 4 inches for the areas that are in yellow along South and North Carolina, but there'll be locally higher amounts that show up right near the coastline as well. I think, again, from the perspective of that meteorological deep dive, it may be worth talking about why is it that Erin, Humberto, and Imelda are all going to be strengthening significantly in the same zone. It actually has to do with us. Or at least the weather pattern over us. So we've got this really strong jet stream or westerly winds that are coming overhead, right? It's been sending cold fronts our way from time to time, et cetera. Well, what it does on the larger scale is if you're zipping the winds along, you actually help to develop, if you think about it, the winds are going fast here and slower to the south. So you start to spin the atmosphere and you're spinning it in this clockwise direction. That is high pressure aloft. That is exactly what you need for tropical systems to strengthen. So by virtue of the fact that you have such a strong jet stream over the northern latitudes, you actually make things more favorable to the south to get tropical systems to strengthen on the big picture, on the large pattern. And that's why you've been seeing basically when they hit the same degrees north, each of these storms intensify sometimes quicker than the forecast guidance predicted because, again, of the fact that on the large scale pattern, you're getting into a more favorable zone. Now, for us and at the surface, what does it mean? Every one of these jet stream disturbances brings a little cold front. We've got one today. Today, you're going to find a couple of isolated or scattered showers in the northern half of New England in the afternoon. In central New England, maybe down to the Mass Pike by this evening, an isolated shower that comes through, and that's a cold front. And then high pressure builds in, and we're shut off from any concern of the tropics after that. Yeah, you get some high altitude cirrus clouds over the next couple of days, but that should be about it for us here as everything kind of hooks off to the east, including again the future Imelda, and new high pressure just keeps building in. The one thing I'll say is with an onshore wind that comes in on Wednesday, that actually is going to help to drive those waves up a little too. We're going to get to that in a second. Just a reminder, as we get a couple of showers this afternoon, our app is totally free. Great way to track it is in the radar tab, do past plus future mode. Then tonight we drop down into the 50s or 40s in some spots, but we still don't really have like cool air, certainly not for this time of the year. Tomorrow, take a look at where you're going to be. Most of us are running about 80 and the wind is pretty light. We get into Monday night and you're still running in the 50s. You're starting to get some cooler air in northern New England, and actually that's a sign. By Tuesday, cold front dropping in the north. Again, not much fanfare with that front, no precipitation, but notice the temperature difference in the North Country compared to South. We are all into that by Wednesday. A northeast wind takes hold. We call it a bit of a backdoor cold front, comes in from the northeast across southern parts of New England. You're at 60 to 65. This does a couple of things. We do think that with the combination of the swell and then the wind wave generation as well, there is a chance for some coastal flooding in the Wednesday afternoon high tide at the south coast, particularly at Nantucket. The other thing it does, it drives in drier air that cools off well. So Wednesday night, everybody in the area is in blue, subject to some frost development. And then Thursday, you're still cool. You're running 60 to 65, and you may do those spots of frost again on Thursday night. Changing weather, one more way to support us, which, by the way, you asked for, and we're so thankful that you did. Swag.onedegreeoutside.com. That's how it looks for now. Hope you have a great end to your weekend. Looking forward to seeing you early on Monday morning at the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. And again, you can always find that on your smart TV, YouTube app. Search 1 Degree Outside Network.